Hello, our most valued student. My name is Confident. Welcome to our revision session, and this is a revision that is focused mainly on those who are doing their mathematics N4. And I thought of looking again at CRAMER'S rule. This is part 2. I've already done a question on CRAMER'S rule. I will encourage you to grab hold of it. And in this particular section, I'm again going through CRAMER'S rule so as to cement your understanding of how to approach it. So in this case, again, I'm focusing on two methods. It's up to you which one you choose, but I'm trying to demonstrate to you that there is not only one way of doing it. There is not actually two ways. There are many ways of solving simultaneous equation, but sometimes the question can clearly specify that you need to use CRAMER'S rule. Now let us look at the paper. I chose one of the papers. This was written in July 2019, and let us look for a question that involves there is one on question 4.4. So let us look at this question, and question 4.4. It says you are given the following equations, that is 3 equations: 2a plus b minus 3c is equal to 4, a minus 2b plus 5c is equal to 7, 3a plus 4b minus c is equal to 8. And then the question 1 says you solve for c by using CRAMER'S rule, and then calculate the minor of minus 2, calculate the cofactor of minus 3. Now if I can snap this out, just to take what I'm given here and work on it from a new page. So this is what we're given, as you can see the question. So that's what we have, and in this particular instance we are supposed to solve. It says solve for c by using by only using CRAMER'S rule, and that is 6 marks. So you see, this particular question only restricts you to solve by using CRAMER'S rule. So how do we go about that? Now, if you look at the equations that are given, you are given in this case 2a plus b minus 3c is equal to 4, and then you have got a minus 2b plus 5c is equal to 7, and you have 3a plus 4b minus c is equal to 8. So already these are arranged in a way that makes it easier for us. So wherever there is a, for example, this is 1. Wherever there is just c, there is a coefficient of 1. Now with that, we are going to find express this as a matrix. So what you have will be we are writing the coefficients of a, of b, and of c, so in each and every equation. So if I can write that, what I have in as a matrix, I have here is 2, and I have 1, and I have 3, and then on the other one I have 1 minus 2, and I have 4, and then I have minus 3, I have 5, and I have minus 1. So this is what I have in this case. And if I'm to find the determinant of this matrix, or if I'm to evaluate this matrix, so what I have, if this is equal to D, so if I can find the determinant of this matrix, it will be equal to, and then I've got my 2, my 1, my 3, 1, negative 2, 4, minus 3, 5, and negative 1. So that's what I have. And now if I can write these two again as they are, which will be 2, 1, and 3, 1, minus 2, and 4. So I'm using the first method here of solving using Cramer's rule, and then just check the previous lesson I did, and then if you do that, now you are multiplying. So you are saying 2 times minus 2, which is minus 4 times minus 1, which is 4, and they say plus 1 times 5 is 5, 5 times 3 is 15, plus minus 3 times 1, which is negative 3, negative 3 plus 4, which is negative 12. So that is the first part. Then you do the second part, which will be in this direction. You are doing the same, you are multiplying and adding them. So what you have is minus 3 times minus 2 is positive 6 in this case, and then 6 times 3, which is 18, and then 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times 4 is plus 40, and then 1 times 1 is 1 times minus 1 is minus 1. So what you have, you are actually looking at to say, in this case, D is equal to that part here, which is 4 plus, actually let me add it first so that we can just find the answer here. If I can just add that 4 plus 15 minus 12, it gives me 7 here. And then if I can add that part, 18 plus 40 minus 1 is plus 40, minus 1, it gives me 57. So I've got 57. So which means D is equal to 7 minus 57, and therefore D is equal to negative 50. So that is the value of D. I've evaluated the matrix, and then after that, remember the question says I need to find C. So what I do for me to be able to find C, remember now what I have under C as far as this matrix is concerned. This represents A, this is B, and that is C. So this column here, it represents A, this column it represents B, and this column it represents C. So I'm going to focus on the column C in this case. Now if that is the case, what I have is, in this case, I'm going to write now my determinant D of C, in this case, will be equal to, so I'm going to have a line, you can just use that and that. So I'm going to have a line, so I've got my first 2, 1 and 3, then I've got my 1, minus 2 and 4, and then I've got minus 3, 5 and minus 1. So this is actually my C in this case, but now wherever there is my C, I have to remove that part because that is where I must substitute with the different values. So if I can just erase now the part for C, and instead of me writing those values for C, the values that I'm going to write are the values, these are the values that are going to represent C, which is 4, 7 and 8. So those are the values that I'm going to use in space of C. So the first one is 4 in this case, and then I've got 7, and then I've got 8. So after the equal sign, so that is what is actually replacing C. So when I've done that, I repeat the same two numbers, the first two columns here, I'm going to repeat them, which is 2, 1, 3, 1 minus 2 and 4. So if I do that, I have to evaluate this particular matrix. So that's what I have, and this is what I have here. I'll be multiplying that, and I'll be multiplying that. I'm just using faint line so that I can see, which is 2 times minus 2 times 8. I can actually use a calculator for that, which is 2 times negative 2 times 8, which is negative 32. Then I say plus 1 times 7, it's 7. 7 times 3 is 21. Then which is plus 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So if I add that, it will be minus 32 plus 21 plus 16. And then it gives me 5 here. And then I do the same thing on the other side. Similarly, multiplying and then adding. So it's, in this case, it is, if I use a calculator here, it is 3 times negative 2 times 4, which is negative 24, plus, and then I've got 4 times 7, which is 28, times 2, which is 56. And then 8 times 1, which is 8. 8 times 1, which is 8. So this is what I'm having. If I can find the total to that, it will be negative 24 plus 56 plus 8, and then it gives me 40. So now if I evaluate this matrix again, it is D of C is equal to 5 minus 40, which is equal to negative 35. So this is what I have in this case. So now, how do I go about simplifying this? Using Cramer's rule. Remember, I'm just focusing on C now in this case. Now using Cramer's rule says if you want to find C, C is equal to now C is equal to D of C over D, which is equal to, now D of C, we said it was minus 35 over, and then you go to D, and D is negative 50, which is equal to, if you use a calculator to say minus 35, negative 35 over negative 50, it gives us 0.7. So you can see that C is equal to 0.7. Now I'm going to prove this particular C using a different approach to the one that I have here, to see if ever it will give me a similar answer. So now I'm going to work on it again. So what I'm given here, as you can see, I'm going to rewrite my matrix for my D. In this case, my D is, if I can just write it again, my matrix was D is equal to, if I can just use a different marker. So what I have is D is equal to, so I have 2, 1, 3, and then I have 1 minus 2, 4, and then I also have, now if I go to the original, so it's 2, 1, 3, 1 minus 2, 4, and then minus 3, 5, minus 1. So minus 3, 5, minus 1, minus 3, 5, and minus 1. So this is what I'm having here. So now, first things first, how do I evaluate this matrix? So this is method 2. How do I evaluate this matrix? So what I do is I'm going to start at 2. So when I start at 2, what I will do is I'll write here D is equal to just to do that, so I'll say D is equal to, so I'm going to start with 2, so it will be 2, and then I'm going to have, now because I started with 2, so I'm going to cover that and cover that. What I'm going to write will be that, which is minus 2, 5, 4, minus 1. So it will be minus 2, 4, 5, minus 1, right? And remember, it is plus, minus, and plus. So after that, it's minus, minus, then I'm going to take that one, which is minus 1, and then I do the same thing here. This is the most common method to use. And then now, since I'm selecting 1, if I cross that and I cross that, I'll be left with that and that, which is what I'm going to write. 1, 3, 5 minus 1 is what I'm going to write. So if I do that, it will be 1, 3, 5 minus 1. And then after that, I've got plus, and this plus that number, which is negative 3. Then I do the same thing here. And if I cross at negative 3 and that, I'm left with those numbers 1, 3, minus 2, and 4. So that's what I'm going to write, which is here 1, 2, 1, 3, minus 2, and 4. So this is what I'm going to evaluate at the end of the day. So what I have therefore will be D. So this is modulus of D, which is 2. Remember, I am multiplying this direction, which is 4 times 5. That's the first part. So 4 times 5 is giving me 20. And then I'm subtracting and multiplying again in this direction, which is minus first and then minus 2 times minus 1. So it's minus. Now minus 2 times minus 1 is positive 2. So it will remain as minus 2. Minus 1 bracket. Same thing. Actually, let me redo this. I'm actually mixing this one. It's actually the other way around. I'm starting here to say times. So it's minus 2 times minus 1. In this case, it is, I've got 2 first. So minus 2 times minus 1, it's 2 minus, and I'm subtracting the multiple of 4 times 5. So what is 4 times 5? It is 20 in this case. And then I say minus 1. Again, I have got minus 1 times minus 1 times 1, which is negative 1. And in this case, it's minus. Then I'm multiplying that, which is 5 times 3, which is 15. And then I've got plus and minus 3. Negative is more powerful. And then I'm multiplying that, which is 1 times 4, which is, in this case, 1 times 4 is 4, minus 3 times minus 2, which is negative 6, like that. So when I use a calculator, then it's better to use a calculator straight away. I will have, in this case, 2 into 2 minus 20 minus 1 into negative 1, negative 15 minus 3 into 4 minus negative 6. If I do that, you can see it's giving me D is equal to minus 50. So I've got minus 50 as my D, and if you still remember, that is what we got as our D. In this case, it was minus 50. I do the same thing now to find the D of C. Now when I'm going to find the D of C, remember the matrix for D of C, it starts with I start with 2 1 3, also 2 1 3, and then I have 1 minus 2 4, 1 minus 2 4. Now instead of writing the values of C as minus 3 5 and minus 1, I write the values of the equation, which is these values. Those are the values I'm writing, 4 7 and 8. So that's what I'm gonna write, the 4, the 7 and the 8. So that's what I'm going to write like that. And then when I am going to evaluate then this matrix, I do the same things that I did previously, just when I was finding D. It's similar. So what I write here is, if I'm evaluating, so I start with, in this case, with a 2, and then after that I cross and I write those two numbers. So I write the 2, and then it will be, in this case, 2, and then I have, remember these are the numbers that were left after crossing. It's minus 2 4 7 and 8, and then remember the signs are plus, minus and plus. So after that I have minus 1 in this case, so it's minus 1, and then I do the same thing here. Now with the 1, what you do, you are saying if I cross out the 1 and that, so I'm left with 1 3 and 7 8. So that is what I'm going to write, 1 3 here, as well as 7 8. Then after that I have plus 4, and then after that when I cross I will have that which is 1 3 minus 2 4. That's what I'm going to have. So if I do that, it will be, in this case, 1 3 minus 2 and 4. Then after that I'm going to evaluate this to say this is 2. Now remember, you are multiplying those, which is minus 2 times 8 is negative 16. Then you're subtracting the product of those again, which is minus, in this case, which is minus 4 times 7 is 28. And then we've got minus 1. You do the same thing. You multiply that 1 times 8. It is 8 minus, you multiply that 3 times 7, which is 21, plus 4. Again, you multiply that. 1 times 4 is 4, and you subtract the product of that, which is minus 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. So you've got that. So when you evaluate with the calculator, it will give me, in this case, 2 into minus 16 minus 28 and minus 1, 8 minus 21, and then plus 4, 4 minus negative 6. It will still give you the answer there. It's minus 35. You can see that this is negative 35. So now when you've got that, you come back now to the CRAMER'S rule, which says to find C, C is equal to D of C over D, which is equal to Now you know what is our D. We evaluated our D to say it was minus 50. So it then becomes minus 50 over minus 35, which is equal to, in this case, actually it's the other way around. It's minus 35 because that's my DC over D, which is minus 50. So when I do that, it will be negative 35 over negative 50. Then it will give me 0.7. Now if you check, the 0.7 is the answer that I got when I was using the other method. So this is how you solve this question when they say solve using Cramer's rule. So that's what they mean when they do that. Now the next one says solve for C. Okay, 4.4.2, calculate the minor of minus 2. So if I can just erase a few things here, which just to, for the sake of my space, if I can just take this off to say, if they're talking about the minor of minus 2, what they're saying is I must come here to minus 2, that is minus 2, and then after that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cross that, then I'm going to cross that. You see the numbers that are remaining, 2, 3, minus 3, and minus 1. Those are the numbers that I'm interested in. So I'm going to say, if I'm finding the minor, so it will be minor here, of minus 2. So what I have will be, in this case, remember I said you cross and you cross, so the numbers that are left is 2, 3, minus 3, and minus 1. Those are the numbers that you're going to write. So you are going to have 2, 3, minus 3, minus 1, and when you evaluate that, remember how you multiply. You multiply these 2, which is 2 times minus 1, which is negative 2. So it's 2 times minus 1 minus, and then you multiply these, which is 3 times minus 3. So when you do that, it's minus 3 times negative 3. That's how you actually evaluate it. 2 times minus 1 is negative 2, minus 3 times minus 3 is negative 9. Now you are saying minus 2 minus minus 9, which is equal to negative 2 plus 9, and that is equal to 7. So when you solve that, the answer must give you a 7. That's what we mean by that. So that is how you solve for the 2 marks. And again, I still need to use the matrix that is above, just I've got to erase that. Now says 4.3, calculate the cofactor of 3. Now I'm looking at 3 here, there's only one 3 there, and they want me to find the cofactor. Now 3 on its own, the number 3 here, it is in row number 3. So because these are rows, row 1, row 2, and row 3. So it is in row number 3, right? And then column, this is column 1, column 2, and column 3. So it is in row number 3 and column number 1. So it's 3, 1. So now if they want me to find the cofactor, so cofactor of 3, now it will be equal to, in this case, it's minus 1 to the power 3 plus 1. Remember the position that it is in, and then you multiply by the minor of that 3. And how do you find the minor of 3? Remember, this is 3, you cross that and you cross that. This is what you'll be having as the minor of 1 minus 2 minus 3 and 5. So that's what we're going to be finding. So which is, when you do that, you write that is 1 minus 2 minus 3 and 5. Alright, and when you simplify this, it will be equal to minus 1 to the power 4, and then when you simplify, remember you are multiplying this direction, which is 1 times 5 is 5, minus, and you multiply this direction, minus 2 times minus 3, which is minus 6, and then what you have is equal to minus 1 to the power 4. 4 is an even number, it will give you a positive, and then 5 minus 6 is negative 1. So the answer that you're going to get here is negative 1. You can even use a calculator, it will still give you the same answer. Now this is how you solve, and if you can check here, the 6 marks that was given for this question. So you've got 6 marks and 2 marks and 2 marks. In total you have got already 10 out of 20, which is a good mark for you in terms of this if ever you're doing matrices. Now I hope this was of benefit to you guys. We've come to the end of our lesson, and my aim was just to show you how you go about solving using CRAMER'S rule. If this is of benefit to you, I'll encourage you to subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified and always benefit from the new videos that we're uploading as you prepare for your final exams. You can also share the channel with your friends and colleagues so that they can also benefit. We have come to the end of our lesson. Watch out again for the third part, where I will also be revising using CRAMER'S rule. Thank you.